Please like and subscribe to the Couch and the Rube YouTube channel. Also download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, our Friday show presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Download the app today. Bet the games we're betting. We'll have some best bets here momentarily, or better yet, probably just bet your own bets. Or if you're looking for the in-house sportsbook experience, there's no need to go to Vegas. Firekeepers does it better right here off I-94 near Battle Creek at the Firekeepers Casino at Dacey's Taproom and Sportsbook. Really cool experience. Again, you want the sportsbook at your fingertips? Download the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. It's right there. They've done some great upgrades, very user-friendly. Or head down to Firekeepers Casino and Dacey's Taproom and Sportsbook. Jason, how you doing, brother?
I said to my staff, I hope Jax doesn't put the first shot into the tuba section and wound a guy.
And we said, would somebody please guard somebody?
Let's go green, go God.
What's up, buddy?
I'm good.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Thought you might have to rewrite those hot takes, those quick takes last night, huh?
There was some. It wasn't really until
I was texting people. I was like, what the fuck? I'm done texting during games after that one last night.
It got to 2 points with about 3.8 seconds to go, and I kind of went, oh, okay, wait a second, what?
Denim Wojcik ruined senior night.
That was the
Take one.
As soon as they got the ball to Fears and he got fouled, and look, those were 2 free throws by him. With I've never heard Breslin is silent.
Dude, I was yelling. I'm like, make some noise. I could not imagine having all of Breslin staring at you while you have to hit 2 free throws.
You know who saved him?
Will Davis.
Will Tiemann. You could probably Will Tiemann. I'm sitting not far from Will Tiemann, but you might have been able to hear him. I bet you Fears could hear him. He's like, yeah, and he winds up at the free throw line. He got it.
Will has no idea. He's got his headphones on. You know?
No, none. Yeah. It's like, oh, man.
God, I think that would get me to jump a little bit if I was Fears.
Well, the only time I've ever had that experience, like calling a game and thinking somebody should tell Will just to shut up and let it happen, is when you're doing like high school or community college games on the radio and you don't really have a producer to throw it back to. Like, you know, you're a little on your own at certain things, and it's not really the sort of production that times the national anthem well. And so all of a sudden, they'll bring out the, the cadets with the guns, and everybody gets silent, and you're sitting there going, and last time they played, you're like, oh, fuck.
It was like great-grandpa Jackson Kohler's great-grandfather there. That was pretty awesome, too.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Earl J. Chuck Kohler.
Did Will shut up during that, at least?
He was talking,
He got it. He's my age.
And when I was in Vietnam, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he got it. Talk about Pearl Harbor. Yeah. He got it.
I've heard that was tough.
He got it. Oh, fuck. It must be great to own the station that you're doing the game on. So no one can fire you.
I got to say, 102 years old, man. Good stock. Kohlers come from. Holy
it's unbelievable.
Smokes. Yeah. It's impressive.
Yeah, it was a really cool moment. But
it was. It was for sure. But dicey finish. We will dig into a lot of that here with the Groovy Donut Groovy Donut Twitter questions here coming up shortly. Before we do, as we do with every end-of-week show, what we're betting presented by our friends at the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Are you betting anything this weekend?
I am, but before that, we do have a little bit of breaking news. For Lions fans, Dave Burkett just tweeted this out 15 minutes ago. Taylor Decker just posted on his Instagram that he's requested his release from the Lions.
Wait a sec, what?
Yeah.
So he's coming back but wants to be released?
I guess so. Because why would the Lions do anything like a normal franchise, I guess, or Brad Holmes? I don't know. I mean, I'm not bummed because I guess it frees up a lot of the cap space from just talking to Michigan fan Jordan here. We were going back and forth before the game or the show here. So
is he going to be re-signed then for a lesser deal? Is that the plan? Or
that, I don't know. Oh. That's the only thing Dave was tweeting out.
Come on,
I guess
Dave.
We'll find out more. But to the bets, of course, man, oh man, Bay Hill's been tough so far. So why not throw some more bets in for the weekend, Graham? Had to live bet today. I got Sahith Thigala at plus 2,900 to win this thing because I'm trying to sprinkle a little bit to get some of my funds back. Because, before I took a shower today, before I came in here, I was like, you know what? Just isn't your week. Going to the Players next week, we'll get them. It's been a decent run to start this golf betting season. And as soon as I get out of the shower, I'm checking my phone. I'm like, why doesn't fire one of these in? I got another 3-pick parlay, a top 10 where I got Scotty Scheffler, top 5, Ludwig, top 5, and Chris Goddard up. Like, don't follow this one. This was stupid. But these are just, plus 735 kind of bets. And I threw in a Cam Young at 10-1. But then as soon as I threw in the Cam Young bet, I think he bogeyed the next hole. So golf is a bitch. But
it's hard to, yeah.
So anyway, that's what I'm going to be grinding on. Next week.
We need the NCAA tournament. My biggest advice for gambling this week is, this is one I learned a long time ago, stay away from conference tournaments. All right? Like, I am telling you, it is.
But see, that makes me want to do it.
Don't do it.
Like hearing you say that, I'm like, fuck it, I can do this.
Well, if you're going to do it, what I would do is conference tournament futures, where you think, because the thing about conference tournaments, I'm not just talking about the Big Ten. You've got to figure out motivation, where teams' heads are, who really wants this, matchups, all that stuff.
So what you're saying is there could be value there.
There could be value. In the individual matchups, the game-to-game matchups are really tricky because a lot of what you've seen in the regular season doesn't end up holding water on the neutral court, and you don't know who's desperate, who's not, and it really matters. I mean, I have my win percentage in conference tournaments has got to be like under 18%. Like, it is that bad over my lifetime that about 10 years ago I was like, yeah, I'm just done. Because then what happens is you have a horrible week of the conference tournaments, and you rolling down to the NCAA tournament, and then you're trying to make it all back and you got like 16 bets going on the first game, and it doesn't go well. What I have for this weekend, though, don't love that the Premier League's off for the FA Cup, but we'll deal with it, right? There are a couple FA Cup matchups this weekend that I kind of like as a parlay. Chelsea, minus 250 at Wrexham, parlayed with, because Wrexham's the darling, right? It's the Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney franchise. They're up in the championship. They're having a good year. They might be in the playoff for the championship to get up to the Premier League. I get that. Chelsea's a better team than them. They'll be fired up for this game. I like them just to win at minus 250. And then Leeds has lost 2 straight at home. They don't usually lose at home. They're better in Norwich City. And they're minus 235. And I think they care about the FA Cup. I think both those teams will. I think you parlay those two teams, it's like even money with Leeds and Chelsea and the FA Cup this weekend. Chelsea plays 12:45 on Saturday, Leeds at 12:30 on Sunday. So you could have a little action middle afternoon on both if you want them.
So you're saying Patriot League, Lehigh plus 750 has no value?
I'm not saying that.
Maybe I need to text Harry because I know that Patriot League, he's all over that shit. Because Navy's minus 250. I mean.
Anyway.
Thanks for telling me not to bet these. Now I can't stop looking at them.
Don't do it.
What about the Sun Belt, man?
Yeah.
South Alabama. Value.
Oh, boy. Unless you really know something. Unless you know something about a team and how much they care.
Might work out if you don't know shit and just go in and start firing.
There you go. There you go. That is what we're betting this weekend, presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Easy to download. They've got some promotional bonuses when you sign up. They've got if you haven't used it in a while, it's some fantastic upgrades. Download the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. All right. You want to dig into these groovy Twitter questions?
Yeah, did you get rid of Eric Schultz's, or did he pass out after the Rutgers comeback last night?
Wait, is Eric not here? Did he not have? Hold on.
I don't see Eric Schultz, dude. Starting with Dominic, is that right?
We didn't have Upper Deck Jerk Guy either. 1 second. Let me double check that I just didn't miss them, because that would be bad.
By the way, Upper Deck Jerk Guy, I did end up seeing that wedding video. It wasn't terrible, your dancing. Your wedding dancing.
I do remember that. That's not one of my. I'm usually a decent wedding dancer. That was not one of my better.
But
days.
It is interesting. A guy that's videoing you from afar, not dancing, is trying to make fun of your dancing.
Correct.
Because I give you credit for being out there. Because it kind of sucks. You got all those chicks looking at you, and like, what are you supposed to do? I feel like you had a good white boy thing going on there, even though you're the whitest guy alive. I would expect you to do the Bill Gates when they
just waddle back and forth.
When they announced Windows and came out there like 6-gunning it or something.
The worst,
Steve Ballmer.
I've always been pretty comfortable in that setting because I remember once I was in my friend Diamond Leung. You remember he covered Michigan State for M Live, then covered the Warriors and everything.
Yeah.
He's out and he's the assistant sports editor in Vegas right now. But he, anyway, his wedding. There were only a couple of us in the actual wedding party. Dylan Hernandez is the columnist at the, or was at the LA Times. I think he just left for another organization. Anyway, he and I. And so there was something went wrong with the dinner order in terms of like timing of it. So all of a sudden they needed people to like dance before dinner. And you got yeah, right. So they came over and they're like, "Can you get it started?" And they just came up
better
to
start
Elizabeth
playing Wu-Tang
and Dylan.
Clan.
And so we're just up there like, "Let's go." And
wait, that's what the video's from?
No, that's a totally separate one. I'm just
okay.
saying I've always been pretty comfortable in those settings, but that was one of those you got to spring in action. If you're in a small wedding party and they need you, that's part of your job is to to handle that.
Yes, so
yeah,
you're a better wedding guest than me, obviously. But man, I would have to get hammered before I went up and did some stuff like that. There's like, oh yeah, come on before dinner and start dancing. But I thought you looked all right.
These days, I usually just officiate. That's usually my
you were really good at that.
Yeah,
Andrew and Monica's wedding a couple years ago. That was amazing. I could never handle something like that.
I did
brain.
Dan Kilbridge and Meredith too. I've done 2.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
good for you, man.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm bragging on it. Let's
You
get out
should.
of the, yeah.
You should. It was good. Are we good, Dominic? Right?
Yeah, let's go to
All
Dominic.
right.
Yep.
You're talented, Graham, and I love you. But what in the hell is with you sports writers? Your tweet about the Wojo tweet was so cringe I couldn't eat for 2 days. He quite literally Googled info and you drooled over it and then told us how to feel. You cannot be serious.
Okay, so I've got to dig up this tweet because this is going
to the blue wall.
This is going to annoy.
You don't
people.
remember it?
Well, I just think people should understand the context of it. I remember seeing it and knowing the Wojo.
Quite the 69 session there.
I knew Wojo was the wrong vessel, but I liked part of what it said because I knew it would trigger people on all sides. And those are my favorite tweets. And so I enjoyed that. Hold on one second. Okay. This is Wojo's tweet. He says, "How's this for a fascinating little oddity? Izzo's Spartans are 54-12 in the past 2 seasons. Dusty May's Wolverines are 54-12 the past 2 seasons. Point is, May has made tremendous ground, but Izzo hasn't retreated an inch. Both programs in great shape." What it does is it compliments and it basically says...
Now do it in his voice.
Yeah. How's this for a fascinating little oddity? That's not Woj. But anyway.
It's pretty good.
So I wrote, "This is a great tweet because if you're an MSU or Michigan fan and you're triggered by it and respond feeling threatened or dissed, it basically says you're incapable of having an impartial opinion when it comes to the rivalry. That's understandable, but also invalidates your analysis." Just a total dick move by me. I get that.
Totally.
But I did like it because it just points out, like if you're a Michigan fan, you feel like you're in this great moment where you've surpassed Michigan State in this, over a 2-year span, really not. And really, that's the thing about the basketball rivalry is nothing you do in an individual game puts you above the other. And if you're,
I'm not talking about Michigan.
And it also points out just what Dusty May has done in 2 seasons, and Michigan State fans can't stand him. And so that, I don't know. I knew it was going to trigger the emotions of everybody, and so I just wanted to point out the idea of
Couch just lighting the fire over his shoulder.
How difficult it is to just sit there and do real impartial analysis for somebody who's emotionally invested in this stuff. That's all I'm saying. It wasn't like a dig at like.
Is that a good enough explanation for you, Dominic?
Yeah, but it was a dick move. I apologize.
That's what you're good at, though, on Twitter. Dominic, I gave Connor Eargood a chance per your request, and he quote tweeted Wojo's tweet saying, "The OG still has his fastball." Oh, no. What? Is he getting a Purple Heart for using Google? Please keep that same energy when he ignores Michigan scandals like last week's latest Rapegate.
Well, Connor is young, right? He's a 2020 high school graduate, right? He's really young. We were doing this show in 2020.
And Woj is an OG.
He is an OG.
He is an OG. I remember listening to him in high school, Stonian Wojo back in the day. Like, I give him credit. He's been around forever.
Wojo's great. I know a lot of people don't like him, and he does lean Michigan. I get that. But I'm saying Wojo, the hate for Wojo is...
it's warranted. But I mean, like, that's what he does, though. I think that's what makes you good if you get people talking. Like, when he's still on 97.1, and when I do tune in, he is good on the show because he can get you aggravated or whatever, Yeah. I can respect that.
No, it's
but you don't have to like it either. I can
100%,
understand.
100%.
like this show. It's not like everybody likes us. I get it.
Most people don't. This show just, when you're out of all other podcasts, you're like, what do I got?
Fuck that. This show's
No,
great,
I'm
though.
kidding.
Pat ourselves in the back. Dominic Graham, in spite of Wojgate, you rarely upset me. But on my father's grave, if you bring up Kenyon Martin breaking his leg in 2000 one more time, I will leave this show forever. Why are you acting like he was 1992 Michael Jordan and MSU backed into the Natty? Retire it. Kenyon was amazing.
He was
Dominic.
really good. And so here's my thing, Dominic. It's not that I think Cincinnati would have beaten Michigan State. That's not ever my point in that. And this will be the last time I bring it up, or at least I'll tell you earmuffs before next time I do. It's that him getting injured changed the seeding, which allowed Michigan State to be the number 1 overall seed and go through Cleveland and Auburn Hills. And I don't think they beat Iowa State, who was actually the best team in that tournament, in the Elite Eight, if that game is not in Auburn Hills. And that's okay to say. Like, it takes breaks to get there. There have been years where Michigan State was better than UConn in 2014. They didn't win it. But I think anybody who is old enough to remember and watch that Iowa State team and feel what you were feeling late in that game, if that game's not at Auburn Hills, I don't know that it goes out that way. And so that is, to me, the true advantage of what happened with earmuffs, Kenyon Martin's leg.
Earmuffs. Nathan next. Is there a specific matchup-based area that allows Rutgers to give Michigan State problems? Or is it just as simple as they're hot from 3 in the 2 games this season? 10 for 23. This excludes 4 misses in OT, and 10 for 18.
Yeah, I mean, it is something they do feel comfortable in. They feel comfortable in the matchup.
Somebody please guard somebody.
And I don't know how much the first one fed the second one, but sometimes there are matchups in basketball in every sport, but basketball especially. You've seen this in pickup games. You've seen this in high school. You see this where you just doesn't matter really the record. You look at the dude in front of you, you're like, I'm okay here. I can handle this, or I'm better than this guy, or whatever. Rutgers, for whatever reason, likes this matchup. They do tend to muck games up a little bit defensively and tend not to let teams get out and run, although Michigan State did that well in the second half. The shooting at the end, though, I've seen that happen. I remember this guy, Joe Janicki, for Aquin High School in Freeport once. I've seen games like that at the JUCO level. I've seen it at the mid-major level. There are times where people just go bananas. They get hot. There's nothing to lose. These guys can really shoot. We talk about Cohen Carr making like more than 50% of his threes when he's shooting at the end of a long practice, unguarded, going around 8 shots from each spot on the three-point line, because these guys can really shoot. It's just so different than a game. So when you get guys who can really shoot with nothing to lose and they're just letting it fly, you can get hot. I've seen that happen a number of times. Now the inbound stuff from Michigan State at the end was Reggie Miller, New York Knicks stuff. That was a little dicey. But the fact that Rutgers got hot did not completely surprise me. I've seen teams do that. But yeah, no, it's an interesting matchup in that it causes MSU some problems, especially when Rutgers' big guy gets in foul trouble, it seems like every time against them, and MSU has some advantages down there, but their guards seem really comfortable against MSU.
Spartholomew next. Will Izzo and the staff putting a collection of beat writers in with over a minute left in the game cost this team a 2 seed in the big dance because the nerds who don't watch basketball will say we didn't win this game by enough points?
No. Because you can't have that stuff. Then you have to remake whole systems. Like if say on Selection Sunday they reference Ken Palm and Michigan's a 3 over a 2, then you can't. Then you don't use. I mean, there should be a real outcry. I don't think that's enough. I think what Michigan State does against Michigan in terms of whether that's competitive, what they did against Purdue, I think there are a lot bigger. This is not. I think this will have zero bearing. I do understand that they dropped in Ken Palm from 8 to 10. Like, I understand why that's concerning to people. I don't think that's ultimately going to.
And plus, if it wasn't senior night, that wouldn't have happened.
Right, but the point is, if the committee's just looking at numbers or whatever, they don't understand the circumstances. And that's the danger of it. I mean, that is they can't look at every single circumstance.
If you're not looking at everything.
Well, but you also shouldn't have metrics that don't factor this in. You shouldn't have to rub it in a team. You beat them by a certain amount. Now, you could argue Michigan State didn't have game control in that because of the way it ended, and they needed 2 free throws to seal it. So in that case, it's fine. But like, I don't love some of the way that some of the metrics judge what's a blowout win and what's not in terms of control. That said, Michigan State did not have control at the end of that game, and so that's and that's partly on Izzo. He took it. Now, if they could have inbounded the ball once, they would have been fine. And they couldn't do it in those first 2 times, and that's what let everything happen.
Big John Hogg next. Where does this season rank among Izzo's all-time coaching jobs? 25-5, and it doesn't really feel like it. Any other year, they win a Big Ten title.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 4 really good players back, and he's got some young guys that, in terms of identifying talent, developing talent, bringing in freshmen who can contribute, there's been some really good stuff. Now, the Trey Fort thing was a miss, right? And he wasn't the player they needed at that position, so it was not perfect in this. He's had some good coaching years. I think the way they finished the 2015 year, getting to the Final Four and the Big Ten tournament championship game against that Wisconsin team, taking them to overtime. That was a great Wisconsin team. Doing that with what was essentially a bubble team well into February is one of his better jobs. He's had years where I think what he was getting out of the Cassius Winston senior year team and the way he handled a very, very difficult, that was a tough year because of what happened with Cassius's brother at the beginning of it. So there have been years I think are more pronounced than what I think were really good coaching jobs. And there have been years where they haven't been as good. I think this is a good one for sure. But it also, he has the point guard and he's got some veterans, and so he's got some guys to ride. And so I don't know where it ranks. But yeah, you get if you take out a historic Michigan team, they're Big Ten champs again. In a lot of years they would be Big Ten champs.
Big John Hogg next. Excuse me. Who goes further, MSU hockey or hoops? And good to meet you last night, Graham. Like I said, if the Spurs go down, a muskox and a beer on me.
Oh man. Now I'm really so that's Tottenham Hotspurs.
San Antonio? Oh, I thought he was talking about the San Antonio.
No,
Spurs.
the Tottenham Hotspurs might get relegated. And I am a little worried about my soul because if Tottenham goes down, I have sold it because this is all I want in life is Tottenham to go down and get relegated. For those Tottenham fans, I'm sorry, I hate them. I do. I can't help myself. Who goes further, MSU hoops or hockey? You have to say if the odds are on hockey. Now, it's single elimination hockey, which is different than single elimination hoops in terms of bounces and other things. But MSU hockey is going to be like the number 1 overall seed, or if not, they're certainly going to be a number 1 seed. They got to win 2 games to get to the Frozen Four. Hockey has a better chance at doing that, I think, without question.
Now, did he introduce himself as Big John Hogg?
He told me, yes.
Or he gave his real name
yes.
and then said, hey, a.k.a. Big John Hogg.
Yes, which was awesome. It was awesome He was not how I pictured Big John Hogg, by the way.
What'd you picture him as?
Just like 6'7", like Paul Bunyan is what I pictured. And
he was not that.
He was not that. No, but right. He wasn't like 4'3". That would have been funny. That would have been ironic. It would have been amazing if he was like 4'3", like a little person. But it was not.
That would be great. Chris Eastlick, what are your thoughts on the Fears tech? Seemed a little overdramatic from the ref. He pointed at the scoreboard.
Yeah, you can't show up people like that. I understand that.
But who was Fears doing that too? Was that player talking shit?
Well, no, it was for the ref to review it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
No, I thought he was pointing like, hey, scoreboard or something.
I didn't think it was a tech at the time. But here's what I think MSU fans should be grateful for, and Fears and Izzo should be grateful for, that it happened when it did. Because that could be a big deal. Fears now knows he can't even do that. Like, he won't mess with that in the NCAA tournament.
You can't talk to a ref?
Well, you got to be real careful. Like, you can't afford that later, and you'd rather have it in a game you wound up winning like that.
All right. Next one from Chris. Another game McCullough doesn't play due to the matchup. At what point does the matchup reason get to be too much?
In terms of not being the reason, or well, here's the thing. The matchup was not great for him. So was the Indiana game, where you're playing where it's a really small lineup, especially when they get in foul trouble. And so they went with Cam Ward at center. That's what they were comfortable doing is a third center based on who they were playing. And that just is what it is. Now, what does that mean going forward? The problem for McCullough to me, and again, this is a conversation that I asked Izzo a little about this, not this specific question, but I think today at availability when it's a little more informal, I'll try to zero in on that a little bit. But
the urinal or portal.
I think some of it is just the 2 guys in front of you are quite a bit better options, and then so is Cam Ward, and the matchups are what they are. And that said, I am a little surprised he hasn't gotten in, and I don't know what that is.
Nathan, does Jesse McCullough transfer? Seeing his face after the game and during a quick camera view, definitely didn't look great. Feels like another Xavier Booker type big Sands pedigree. Tall, liability on defense, refuses to rebound, and lives to shoot a perimeter J.
I don't agree with this yet, because the one thing Booker didn't have that I think that McCullough has is this sort of natural aggressiveness to his personality. And in short stints that he's been out there, we've seen him be more aggressive and want and have some tenacious moments, more so than Booker. I think it's just a better part of his personality, which fits going forward. The other thing is, and again, I don't know what's in his head right now, but the other thing is the opportunity beyond this year is just great. Like, there's, the two guys who are playing in front of you are leaving, right? And so I don't see you put in the work for 2 years at that program. I think they still like your future and all that. I don't see why I would leave now just because you're not seeing a lot of minutes and there isn't a great need for you today. I mean, look at a guy like Kerr Teng last year. I mean, he was the 11th man in a 10-man rotation, and had they been a little less deep, probably would have played a decent role. And the problem was just how many guards they had. And I think for McCullough, a lot of that is now he's in the same spot that Kerr Teng was a year ago, and the opportunity will be there next year. Now, that doesn't mean I don't think they need to also bring in a 5, because I don't know that you can trust his development and a true freshman, Ethan Taylor, coming in, and you're going to need more at the 5 than that. But I certainly, if I were him, I would look at the opportunity and think it was great.
Mike Scott next. What are the chances that Fears and Carr return to MSU this year? Give a percentage, please. Don't say 50-50.
No, I think it's very, very likely. But because I think both guys understand legacy and care about that. Fears cares about, I think, to some degree, being like the next great point guard there, and all that's gone if you leave, right? And I'm not saying you have to stay your full time. You can go to the NBA after a year from now or whatever. But if I were Fears, I wouldn't. Michigan State is going to be competitive in whatever is offered salary wise. He's going to be taken care of. Carr is going to make a fair bit of money. Carr understands he's like one of the most beloved and very in tune with. I mean, Carr's a bright guy. He's one of my favorite people to talk to in the locker room after every game.
It'll be a cold day in hell before I give up on Cohen Carr.
And you've got your coach saying that, and those two together, I think, understand coming back. They'll be. I mean, I would be very surprised if those two aren't.
So percentage,
I would say you never say anything 90. And I think the Trey Holloman is a little bit of a gift in this sense, because both of them probably sense how that worked and how he was treated and thought of. There's a lesson in that, and maybe that's Trey Holloman's legacy.
Mike Scott, does Wrexham beat Chelsea in the FA Cup? And can the Wolves beat Liverpool again?
Well, the Wolves-Liverpool, most of you will be done before you listen to this. But, yeah, I mean, Wolves are playing like a mid-table club right now, and Liverpool is not. Wrexham beat – as I gave my best bet earlier on the to use on the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app, I like Chelsea as part of a parlay there. Liverpool-Wolves, I would completely make a stay away. They just played earlier this week, and obviously Wolves had success then. I would stay completely away.
Mike Scott, Jason, what the hell happened to Jordan Spieth? Well, I mean, what do you mean? He played through a wrist injury last year. He's still Jordan Spieth. I mean, golf is a bastard. I mean, it'll take your soul from you, and the game goes sometimes. But I think Jordan Spieth, I mean, when he's on, he's on. But I don't know. I would definitely not recommend gambling on him, because your heart will not be able to handle it. I can tell you that. Ken Chu, is cornrow Cohen Carr better than afro Cohen Carr? I mean, I prefer Afro Cohen Carr, but that's just me.
I would like a really nice, like Julius Erving, Dr. J, 70s Cohen Carr look.
1,000%.
That would be my preferred look from Cohen Carr, just to do, because he can do those. That would be my play for sure.
Tyler, Couch, the streets are talking, saying that a certain 102-year-old Kohler man knows more ball than you. What do you say to that?
Well, this is what I actually heard from Chuck Kohler last night. He said the secret to longevity is Groovy Donuts. If you, too, want to be 102 years old one day.
At Grok, is this real?
Groovy Donuts is the path. It's the path to joy and happiness, certainly, and we know that happiness and joy leads to a longer life. Go to groovydonuts.com. Place your order today. You can get an assortment of donuts or pick one of their offerings for this month. The blueberry pie fritter that's available this month is, I'm telling you, it is going to be a major part of my March. They have Bismarck's apple fritters, some cereal donuts available that look amazing, Long Johns, whatever it is you want. Groovy Donuts is here for you. Open 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thursday through Sunday. That's both Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing and also in Williamston. And again, groovydonuts.com. Place your order. Make them part of your March Madness and living a happy, long life. Tyler, what would you do if Miami of Ohio, who has a 31-1 record, got left out of the tourney for Auburn, Indiana, and similar shitty teams? Would you be forced to abandon high A ball and go cover a mid-major? I would be annoyed as hell. I'm not going to leave to cover a mid-major program because I have to move, and I don't think there's as much interest in those programs. Well, it depends on the program. There are some places. You go to like Southern Illinois, there's a big fan base, but not at Miami, Ohio. There's not. I've covered many a game at Miami, Ohio, and
you know a lot of Saluki fans.
I do.
Yeah.
A lot of Saluki, and the Wally Zerbiak days are long since gone. And actually, there's a guy, and I forget his name, who was like the guy I patterned my game after. Who was on? There were these two redheaded twins, played for Miami, Ohio back in the day. Anyway, they're like 6'6".
Adam Wolf?
Nah, this is like 2008ish, 9ish. Anyway, the
Adam Keefe.
Hold on, give me some Hoff. I'll find the fucking thing.
No, it's okay.
Are you raising your voice at me?
He got it! I see the stars come out of the sky. Yeah, the bright and hollow sky. You know it looks so good tonight.
Come on. That's crazy.
I am a passenger.
Really good peanut.
I stay under.
I think if I'm right, it was Eric Politz. Was his name? Yeah, he looks like a little bit of oof now, a doof, whatever the word
doof
is.
And oof.
Doof and an oof, but so do I. So that
you could have made up any dude.
I could have come.
Really could have.
Yeah, with anything right there. I will be annoyed though if they don't make the NCAA tournament 31-1 because, granted, they could have played a better schedule even if they didn't. They got turned down by some of the top schools that they wanted to play. It's not a great schedule. I don't feel like there are a lot of mid majors over time that I really think deserved better.
And it is true they tried scheduling some games, right? Is that true? What the FOIA? Someone FOIA?
Some of them, yes, right. But even within, and they're not a. I don't think they're a great team. I don't think they're up for a deep run. But I'm sorry, when it is so hard to win conference road games and do what they're doing, and we just see who wants Indiana over. We just saw Indiana. Who wants that pathetic group of whatevers? In the tournament, we know what they are. Like that. How is that deserving over what Miami, Ohio did? The tournament is not about just getting it perfect all the time. It's about to me, if you got a deserving record and you're a high major, you got millions of chances to play your way and you're in. But stories like this, teams like this, to me, there should just be a blanket thing. If you are of a mid-major league and you're talking like top 20 RPI, top 15 RPI league maybe, and you go unbeaten, then you're just in. Even if you lose in the conference tournament, you're in.
David Jackson, I stand by my belief that Michigan threw their NCAA tournament game last season because they knew that in the regional final, MSU would have beaten them for a third time that season. In that game to reach the Final Four, and it would have broken them. Do you agree?
I do not. I don't think they were thinking that way. Now, it wasn't. I remember thinking this will be interesting if they get there, and I don't know. I don't think Michigan State fans wanted that either. I don't think anybody wanted the game with the Final Four on the line necessarily. Now, if you win it and you're MSU for a third time, and I think MSU would have because they were a better team than Michigan last year, but I do not. I do know that rivalry can affect players even when they're not playing each other. Like I remember in like 2013 when Michigan made its run, but Michigan won a Sweet 16 game that ended just before Michigan State played Oregon, I think it was, and lost in the Sweet 16. I remember thinking the players were aware of that, and Michigan was just sort of on the ascent. And but I really, I'm not saying you're wrong. I appreciate the conspiracy theory or sort of the theory. It's not really a conspiracy, but I can't imagine that was.
Well, it is coming from David, so you never know. He wears a tinfoil hat. You never know.
Every time I met him, he got a tinfoil hat.
Yeah, and underwear. David Jackson, very impressed how MSU ran Minnesota off their own rink to win the Big Ten outright. You just know that Brand X was watching that. So F you to them. I assume that Augustine will leave and be in Grand Rapids in a month. Good for him. But what about Porter Martoni? Might he return?
I think Martone's back. or not back. I think Martone's gone too. I think the club. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said back. I think he'll be gone as well. He's had just such a great year. I would be stunned if he's back for another year. But that's part of recruiting those guys in this era. You're gonna have the best guys for a single year. It wasn't impressive. They did not leave any room for a dicey second game of that series and winning the Big Ten championship. I mean, I really was a little bit annoyed last night with everything going on at the same time and the scheduling of all of it, because you had this really big high school basketball regional final at East Lansing. You had Michigan State basketball. You had Michigan State women playing, and we'll get to some of those with their questions with their loss to Illinois and what that means. And then you had the hockey playing, and it's. I mean, I'm of course at the basketball. Was that the biggest game of it? I don't know. I don't
Men's hoops.
I mean, men's hoops trumps all in terms of interest. That's without question. It's not even close, and that's why I'm there.
But I could see going to the hockey.
This is the first year we haven't gone to the hockey cover hockey when they had a chance to win it. We traveled on the road to Madison 2 years ago when they were going to win their first one, and we traveled to Notre Dame last year when they had a chance to win it. Minnesota's just one of those things you got to get on a flight. The conflict of other things, it was something we didn't do. But yeah, I think if it had been drivable, we would have had somebody there. It probably wouldn't have been me though.
Scott, what would be the better win for MSU basketball over Michigan? Sunday to close the regular season or the Big Ten tournament final? And from the second Dark Mantonio, how much danger or downside risk is there in the Michigan game for MSU? Say they got run off the court. Is that worse than a win is good for the team and their psyche entering the tourney time?
I'm not quite sure. Is that worse than a win? If they got run off the court, I'm a little confused by the second part here. But danger and down. Let's start with the first part with Scott U. Better win. What do you think? Better win this Sunday in Ann Arbor or in the Big Ten tournament final?
Sunday.
This Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
Regular season.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think the Big Ten MVP race. I think it comes down to Sunday.
So there's
if Michigan State wins, Fears gets. I don't know.
There's a really good point you just made. I think that adds to this Sunday. I think the Fears.
In the past 2 weeks, we've been talking about how the Big Ten tournament means nothing. So why would we care about if they beat Michigan in that?
Yeah, I mean it is a champion. It's the secondary championship, but it is a championship. It's something. It would be if they got there and won it, it would be a big deal. I do think, and there are only 3 games in 3 days. And then you have,
but you beat them in Chrysler. I mean,
yeah, you don't get
that win.
So say they beat them in Chrysler. Fears wins the Big Ten Player of the Year, and then you lose to them in the Big Ten Tournament Championship. Is that better than the reverse?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I don't know. And how much danger is? I mean, you don't want to get run off the court. You don't want to look like you don't belong in the same. I think if they lose this game in a relatively competitive game, that even if it gets to like the last game, will wound up being 12 points, but it wasn't really that until the final minutes. That doesn't hurt them at all.
How many minutes does Denham Wojcik have on Sunday?
37. I'm kidding. 3.
All right. Scott, when you mentioned that Michigan has roughly double MSU's budget for basketball, is that pre-revenue share era or the now revenue share era of all years going forward?
Well, this particular team was built pre-revenue share, which started last July 1st, right? I don't know what it's going to be going forward. I don't know how Michigan's going to handle basketball if they'll continue to have an immense budget. I would imagine they will. And what Michigan State will have and what they'll choose to spend. I don't know what it will going forward. My understanding, and I don't know the exact figures, is that if I had to guess, I mean, Michigan is above 10, and Michigan State is, maybe not half of that, but well below that.
Scott, what petty behavior do you expect from Dusty and Yaxel on Sunday? Kissing the logo on senior night? Those two likely have something.
I can't. I mean, it would be. I mean, if I were Yaxel, I would kiss the logo. I would, but that would be a real kind of. If that's not your tradition, just sort of a douche move. If you win the game and dominate it and sort of take over the Player of the Year voting, I've been doing some research on this because, I do have a vote, and we talked to Joe about this quite a bit. I actually think if I had to choose one player on Michigan's team, I might choose Merez Johnson. And that doesn't mean that Yaxel doesn't belong being Big Ten Player of the Year, but as I go back through different games and different performances, and I've tried to watch a little more, and I don't know, it's tricky. I don't know. I'm glad they play each other one more time, and you get to sort of see it head to head and what they mean to their teams in a game that's important to some degree. They've already won the Big Ten championship. They are the best team in the Big Ten. They've done something historic. But it'll be interesting to see how it's all handled, what the atmosphere is. Should be a decent storylines. Good day for Woj to tweet.
Do you think Solari's going to be excited? He's going to be overamped?
Oh, he'll be overamped. There's no question. Yeah.
Charles, love the show. Like you, I'm a fan of Ken Pom, but since it started in 2002, this year's Duke, Michigan, and Arizona teams are in the top 4 all-time teams in terms of net rating. Do you agree that these 3 teams are better than virtually every college basketball team over the last 25 years? Or is there something off with the model in the new NIL world? There are really good teams, but that doesn't seem realistic.
So what you have, part of it is this. The offense has just gotten way better. You go back, and Ken Pom has data on the 99-2000 team. Like this particular Michigan State offense is more efficient than the 99-2000 national championship team. More efficient than the most efficient of the Cassius Winston teams. Like offenses are just getting better. Now some of that, is relative. It's relative to how the game's being played and all that stuff. So that's why you're seeing it. It's not that these teams necessarily would have won. And like if you go back and like if these teams walked back into 2000 and had to play the way you could play defense back then, I'm not sure all of them would handle it all that well. You could be pretty damn physical. It was a different game. And so you had to be great offensively against different types of defense and rebounding and other things. So I don't think this particular Michigan State team beats the 2000 Michigan State team, which So it's a good question. I do think there's some talking that these couple of these teams have sort of broken the algorithms and all that stuff. I think it's partly just that offenses have changed and progressed in basketball, which is absolutely true. I mean, look at like what the NBA was when the 04 Pistons won it. They were winning games like 79-74. That's like halftime now, right? Or at least the end of the third quarter. So the game has just changed.
Shep next. Graham, you use AI to create an image of Denim Wojcik as a black guy and post it from your main social media accounts. You must leave it up and defend it by arguing in the comments. In exchange, I donate $2,000 to the Lansing Promise. If 2 stacks isn't enough, name your price. What a great opportunity to raise some money for the Lansing Promise that you always talk about.
I have a price, and if you do it, I'll do it.
Oh, God.
But the price,
don't say $1 million.
No, it's $200 million.
Oh, come on.
No, because what it has to be something where in perpetuity through interest you can pay the full weight every single year, and so which is going to be about $10 million a year. So $200 million, Shep. I will.
Couch is no fun.
I will do the Denim Wojcik as a black guy and post it from my main social media account. And if people miss that bit and what he's talking about here, they can listen to a previous show. I don't want to get the whole thing again, but I did say that picture now, imagine him black and how you'd feel about him. But anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, go back and listen to that. Shep, the committee is going to give MSU a 2-15 first-round matchup against undefeated Miami of Ohio, aren't they?
Now, Miami will be a higher seed than that because, if they're on the bubble is like 11, right? And so Miami, Ohio, even if they're going to be left off and they got in undefeated, they would be like a 12. And actually, one of the reasons that people talk about the 5-12 matchup, which is always the great upset spot years ago, and NCAA tournaments. Why did so many 12s beat 5s? And it was real simple. The committee got it wrong all those years. Like what used to happen was the 12 was like a really good underseeded mid-major who knew how to win and had done more than the 5 seed was like a flawed high major that probably didn't deserve to be a 5. And so you wound up with that dynamic. And really what you had was more of an 8-9 situation playing in a 5-12. But that will not be where Miami, Ohio is.
MSU Realist next. Continue getting this production from Cam. You don't work hard, Ward. And this team can do some serious damage. You don't work hard.
So the idea is if you challenge Cam Ward, he keeps – Cam Ward is – what he did last night and what he's done – there's it was interesting. I talked to Kohler in the locker room about him for a little while because Kohler really is I mean, he's had to work with coaches and everything, but he's self-made to some degree. He turned himself into a great rebounder, an elite rebounder. I mean, only his rebounding average, only Tillman, 1 year of Draymond, 1 year of Tillman, and 1 year of Antonio Smith have beaten. And that was not who he was coming in. That's not what they expected out of him. And that's not what Izzo saw of him, not even what they believed he would be at the beginning. But and he talked about it, like you study the angles of where balls are coming off and who's shooting and all that. It's like you work on that stuff and positioning. And Ward is just more natural at it. He's going to be an elite rebounder, has a chance to be. And Kohler was saying, that sort of the art of it is the element he works with him on. But Cam Ward as a chance, he's what you want as a college basketball player. A guy who's probably a little too short to be one and done, two and done to the NBA, but can do everything at the college level potentially.
KG next. Can we confirm that there's an official rule that a player can't point at the monitor or scoreboard? I haven't found any evidence of that. I'm sure Couch will appreciate when we also ask, Grok, can you confirm?
Grok can't confirm.
That was a great bit by the ref, though. You just tell Izzo, but like, no, it's in the rule book, Tom.
Yeah.
That kind of diffuses him.
Grok could not confirm it, but Grok's wrong 90% of the time. I love that we choose Grok. Anyway,
it is funny.
That everybody, I need to check with Grok and see if I can trust this source.
Can't trust anybody now.
Yeah, well, people have made that the case.
No.
I don't know for sure if it is or not. I guess
Tom Izzo doesn't know that rule.
It's going to be a tech because the ref will be in trouble otherwise. So if that ref's not suspended, it's a rule. I would just say that.
Matt Salisbury, do you think if the Spartans lose to Michigan and in the first game of the Big Ten tournament, they will still be a 2 or 3 seed in the NCAA tournament?
They'll still be I think they're firmly at a 3. At worst case is what I mean, because they're up at the 2 line. They haven't. There's nobody that can play in the Big Ten tournament, I guess, unless somebody makes a run that would an unexpected run from the back that could really hurt them. Like losing to Wisconsin, that's not going to drop you that far on a neutral site. So I don't think one of the advantages starting on Friday is you're playing a pretty good team for sure. And so I don't think they can fall. Now, could it knock them out of a 2 if they lose to Michigan, convincingly and then drop again? Yeah, I think it would probably drop them down to a 3.
Fossman 80 next. You frequently reference Michigan's immense resources in basketball. Can you give a comparison to the Couch and the Rube listeners what those resources are in comparison to MSU's? If not, why not? And don't just say no without giving an explanation.
No.
Or do a live read and forget to answer it.
Yeah, that's what I did.
A couple of them
with Kohler's grandpa. But anyway, that's usually my shtick. I do the live read and forget.
Well, that's
the question.
a little different. I was talking about, do you know less ball than a 102-year-old? I mean, that's
right,
a bit.
Right. Yeah,
right? You can go to a live read, but when someone actually has a question.
Correct. And if you make it to 102 and you've seen a lot of ball, I bow to
you win all arguments.
Yeah, not gonna.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I mean what I've heard, and I've talked to people about this, but I don't have it like on record. Is it's I don't know if it's double, but it's more. I mean, you don't get Merez Johnson from Illinois, which pays decent money for players. You don't get Ademara from UCLA, which pays decent money for. You don't get Yaxel out of the NBA draft if you're not paying. So just think about it in that sense. Michigan State's top guys are doing okay, but I would say my understanding is they're below. This year, at least below 7 figures. So, we'll see where that goes moving forward. But but this is part of it. I mean, knowing the transparency in NIL is going to be a debate and an argument. These are public universities. Now they're all going to have like private wings in terms of it. But what should be known? What should be? I mean, in pro sports, we generally know what guys make when they sign contracts, and so why shouldn't we know with these guys what protects them over? Especially when half these guys are 24 and half the pros are 22 when they come out of college. So I don't know what should protect them over other pros, if that makes any sense. And by the way, when I was talking about that official would be in trouble if he got the scoreboard thing wrong, the one thing that gets officials in the game is not judgment calls. It's when they screw up administering the game, a clock situation, whatever it might be. So if you called somebody for a technical that wasn't in the rule book, that's sort of an administering the game error that would get you in trouble.
But it's just, it's interesting that it was Fears.
Right.
If it was Cam Ward, do you think they were calling a tech? If Cam Ward pointed up to the scoreboard?
It's a good question. And why? And if you're Fears, you just got to say, I was talking to God. Why not? I mean, they put the scoreboard right ahead. Yeah, anyway.
Him and Chad Latz.
Let's go green. Go God.
Him and Latz are talking to God. Fossman80 is writing a book ever on your career to-do list. College sports fans could really use a deep dive that takes us under the hood and compares by institution the money flowing into NIL coffers and what the source of that money is and why some universities have been successful in the landscape and others, like MSU, seem to struggle. Or are your sights set on writing the Hallmark Holiday Movie Encyclopedia?
The latter, really. I mean, it is. No,
It'd be more fun, I think, the Hallmark thing.
I've got a book project in the works that I've been working on for some time that it is in the college sports landscape.
Ooh.
But it's not something like this. It has elements of that, but it's
You're gonna find the Fear shooter.
It's a ghostwriting project with another coach. But this is not.
Is that Amazon Kindle?
No,
one of those Kindle things.
I don't know if I'd write another one. It takes a lot of. I don't know that I would ever write a book while we were doing this show. Put it that way.
Oh God.
We
have one show a month.
Yeah, it would be bad. Jason, I can't get there today.
Sorry, man.
I got a job
on this book.
Yeah.
I can hear it now. Ralph E. Murphy's Law at the end of last night's game. Yikes. Listen to your excellent show with Joe Rexroad. He's working really hard on brackets. Would you please tell me, like I'm 7 years old, older than 5, why WAB has become the metric it is? Still don't get it.
So this is wins above bubble, right? WAB. And Joe responded, and I'll read the response so that people are also wondering what that was. And if you haven't listened, I always enjoy talking to Joe, but I think it was a really good 25 minutes with Rexroad from Wednesday's show. If you get a chance, starts about the 20-minute mark. Here's what Joe replied. If a team is plus 3, it has more wins than the average bubble team would have against the same schedule. The average bubble team right now, whose ranking would be Cal, is plus 0.01, or Indiana plus 0.04. It rewards winning at a high level. It's a friend of mid-major. So for Miami, bad strength of schedule, no huge wins, but small gains all season and 0 losses to detract from the score. Voila, it's a plus 3.14 thanks to 27th nationally in WAB. That's a number that gets you an at-large. The question is how much one loss hurts the score if they need to be an at-large. Because the only way they're an at-large, of course, is if they lose a game because they lose in the conference tournament, right? So that is the question. How was that for you?
That's the taint.
It's exhausting. Just tell me what time they play.
I'm telling you right now. If
you know what I mean? Like, you need to show me the bracket.
Yeah, if you're exhausted by the show, by the way, if you're ever going to listen, I do highly recommend Groovy Donuts because it is just a way to get through this. It's a way to get through life. If you're worried, if you're anxious about Michigan State seeding, if you're worried about the MSU women no longer having a home weekend, if you're just worried about your life, your loved one, your family, people driving you nuts, whatever it might be, go to groovydonuts.com, place an order today, swing on by either location, Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing, and also in Williamson, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., Thursday through Sunday. Some fantastic offerings available just this month. And again, the blueberry pie fritter is going to be a part of this weekend for me.
And I know because we appreciate any guest that comes on this podcast, but I would have to say Joe Rexroad is the most beloved. Like every time he comes on, it's usually the comments.
Except for the time he came on like 3 years ago when they hired when Mel Tucker had been fired and went and put a plug in for Pat Narduzzi as the hire. That was the one time
we don't have enough time for all of that.
They're like, this old man is out of touch. That was the general response.
I forgot about that. Oh, there goes that logic. Okay. Lancelot, that was a while ago, though. Why is UConn considered a lock for a 1 seed when they are number 9 in Ken Pom? In 2017-18, MSU went 29-4 and got a 3 seed. Was the Big Ten that year worse than the Big East this year? Help me understand.
Yeah, no, they're 8 in the net. They're down in Ken Pom. I don't think they're a lock entirely for a 1 seed, but the metrics aren't everything. And I can't explain it to you. I'm not a bracketologist. I don't pretend to be one. But there is some, we spend all year looking at these metrics as these Bibles, and then there are always going to be examples where it doesn't play out or they're not seen a certain way, and it's based on quality wins. And like if you look at UConn, they're 7-2 against quad 1, 9-0 against quad 2, and 6-1 against quad 3. They have one quad 3 loss, and I think that was a home game too. I could be wrong, but it's a fair question because if you look at them next to Michigan State, who's 8-4 against quad 1, 7-1 quad 2, and unbeaten in the others, you're like, well, what are we doing here? So, and that exhibition game obviously doesn't count between the two.
Lancelot next. Is Cam Ward back? What does that do for this team's ceiling?
Well, it would have been interesting if he never hurt the wrist because who he was against Arkansas and who he was becoming, I remember talking to him in the locker room the day he hurt the wrist down in Fort Myers against North Carolina, and he thought he was okay. I mean, I saw him holding it. He thought it was just a sprain, wound up being a little more serious than that and really affected his season. I do wonder where his season would have gone. But it is a nice guy to have sort of finding himself late in the year again. And they got to make sure Jordan Scott is not hitting a wall. He's had just 2 rough games. I don't think it is. I think he'll be okay. But, he both him and I think he and Ward have talked together about just how long the season is at this level compared to what it was in high school. So you just got to make sure Jordan Scott's there's nothing to just a couple games that haven't been his best.
Professor next. Will Tom leave Fears on the court for 40 minutes in the tournament?
I think he'll play as much as he needs. You want Fears making good decisions and being able to guard. There's a point of diminishing returns. So I think you're going to have to play. You're certainly going to have to play Denim Wojcik for a couple minutes in the first half, and based on game state, you try and steal a minute in the second half. You do get these long media timeouts, and if you use them right, and they've done this pretty well with Wojcik a lot, where they've, in certain matchups, they brought him in like 48 seconds before the media timeout time, and if they call their own timeout, that's the other thing you can do. Like sometimes there is no media timeout because there's no stoppage in play, but I think it was Indiana, could be wrong, where they got under the next time for media timeout, and they called their own timeout, which became the media timeout. So there are ways to do that as well. But you want Fears in the final 8-10 minutes of the game at his best, and you do need to be a little careful with that.
When Wojcik was announced on senior night, I thought for a half second he was going to put his middle finger up, like when he was waving to the crowd.
He did not get as big an ovation as Trey Fort did.
No.
Trey
kind
Fort,
of like an Alan Haller kind of clap.
It was a decent clap, but I think the Trey Fort ovation was interesting to me because it sort of spoke to. I think people appreciate a guy who is not. He's been a disappointment, but not a distraction or disruption. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't. Like we've never heard one thing about this guy's a problem. This guy's sulking. This guy's that. And people can appreciate in life when things don't go as you intended, and you just keep your head up. And don't. Was
Wojcik sulking though?
No. I'm not
it's
talking
just
about
more
that.
of him on the court. It's
more that he's the white guy who's the coach's son.
What if Denim Wojcik were black and he was announced on senior night with the applause? There you go.
All I'm saying.
Column. Professor, do you care about the World Baseball Classic?
Not really.
Yeah.
It's unnatural.
Why?
Because it happens at a time we're just getting ramped up for like. Hey, it's spring training, or we like to watch baseball. Opening day, it's like, hey, there's not a whole lot of pressure. It's I'm not trying to be the Fonz here, but like it's you know what I mean? It's sort of like spring football, the UFL. It's like we just sort of peaked at the Super Bowl.
Except there's actually stars on the World Baseball Classic, and if the USA is in it,
I don't know.
Right?
It's a come down to the. When you go back to regular, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't really care.
Like
about
if USA plays Japan in the championship again or something, like I'm definitely going to watch. But if you're asking me, like if Skubal pitches, I think did he pitch already? I mean, I don't know. It's just tough to find time, especially when you're watching every round of PGA tournament here. But I think I care. It's just it depends on what time it's on.
There are not many sporting events I care less about, but I do enjoy. Like I watched the other day when the Tigers were playing. Was it the Dominican Republic? And they were just the place was going nuts, and it was kind of fun to see. But you just don't. I know it was an exhibition that day, but yeah.
Professor, how much blame should Alan Haller get for the last minute 30 last night?
Probably all of it. Yeah, it's all Alan Haller.
That'd be fun. Just blame Haller on the shit. Sparty Barb, what scenario leads to an MSU victory in the game against Scum on Sunday? Kurtang shooting 6 for 8 from 3. Jordan Scott shooting 40% from the field, or Cam Ward shooting 75% from the free throw line?
I think it would be if Kurtang goes 6 for 8 from 3 over those 3. would be the one.
How about all of them?
Yeah, yeah.
All three.
But Jordan Scott, 40% of the field is pretty standard. Cam Ward, 75% of the free throw line. If he gets there 4 times, that's 3 free throws. I think Kurt Tang, 6 for 8 from 3 is like that would be, I mean, that's a huge impact. If you get a guy like that, they will be in this game if Kurt Tang has that sort of game. And it's sort of one of those games where you need that. You need more than Jeremy Fears. You need, and maybe more than like Cohen Carr having a game like he did. But you do need somebody else in that group of guys who's shown they can have a game to have a game and sort of raise their level and be an answer. Because what Michigan State has done really well in some of these, like the Purdue and Indiana game, is they've had an answer all the time, and they've had different guys who have been that answer. Let me ask you this: what do you think the line is going to be on the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app this Sunday for the game?
Michigan minus 6.5. I
think it's going to be closer to 10 because Ken Palm prediction's 10 right now, and that they're usually within a half point of that. Yeah,
damn,
79-69. So that's
is that because of the last minute and 10 of that game last night?
No, well, it's actually gotten closer. It's just because Michigan's an elite team in their home. So what they're basically saying is it's 7 points on a neutral court. Michigan would be -3 at Breslin, or -4 at Breslin.
Okay.
Would you take that line on the Firekeepers iCasino?
I would take Michigan State with 10.
With 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because of the rivalry thing. I don't know. It just seems heavy to me.
Yeah, it's I would yeah, no, it's an interesting number, 10, because you can see even in a close game like you saw at Breslin, Michigan won by 12, right? It's a close game at the end, but it gets away. It's a little bit of a risky number. I think I don't know. I would probably be a stay away from me, but
it doesn't feel like fun.
It doesn't feel like yeah. Maybe not the game for you this week on the Firekeepers iCasino and
talk to me on Sunday morning. I might fire. Jay Riemenschneider, how is that every player and coach on a fan's favorite team is a good person, but every player and coach on their rival's team is a bad human being, especially being that the fan doesn't even know anybody personally on either team? What's he saying?
So the idea is, and this is really good because he is right on this. Like it seems like every player and every coach on a rival on a fan's favorite team is good, but every player and coach on their rival's team every coach and player on your team is good. Every coach and player on a rival's team is bad, and that's just the way we generally handle it. I mean, you just look Michigan State in this rivalry with how Michigan State fans feel about Dusty and how Michigan fans feel about Izzo, and everyone finds the worst in them. Neither fan base knows the other, and really probably knows their own coach. And neither one of these coaches, I mean, I'm not saying Izzo doesn't care about the fans in general, but all of these coaches don't actually care about their lives either. So, I mean, it's I'm sorry, I'm just trying to be a dick right now. I didn't mean to be a dick. I take that back. We'll fix that in post.
But can't you be like, intermediate where you go, yeah, Dusty seems like a weird guy, but he is a good coach. I respect what he did this year. No matter what. You could still be both, right? Or not?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and
I know that Michigan fan Jordan, he hates Izzo, so he's different than other people. But
why does he hate Izzo?
He's hated Izzo since I've known him
because he's won, right?
I'm guessing so,
right?
And he'll say, in 2000 when he was like 8 years old. So I can, but I mean the hatred. But I'm saying when you could sit there and respect, well, Tom Izzo is a Hall of Famer. You can respect.
Right.
A coach and still dislike him because he's a rival coach.
Yeah, and it's because
the big deal?
It's because you love one thing and hate the other, and so that whoever falls into
we pay attention to too many people on social media that mean absolutely. You talk about people meaning anything. I mean, people on social media and their opinions, that means absolutely nothing.
I mean, here's the deal: Trey Fort was the same dude last year as he is this year. Mm-hmm. Same guy. And people think one year they thought he was the greatest.
He's matured a little bit. We all do at that age.
But was it one year everybody thought he was the greatest thing ever to exist? The next year they think he's this jackass who made a big mistake, right? And so it's just because he didn't play for your team. He wanted something else. Nobody's rational in fandom. I've said it before, and it's the greatest mental illness. But fandom is mental illness.
You meant Trey Holloman, right?
What did I say?
Trey Fort.
Trey Holloman.
Okay.
Fix that in post.
Yeah. Thanks. Jay Riemenschneider, when is the last time you chopped it up with Matt Charbonneau? And when are you going to get him on the pod?
Saw him not that long ago, and
what's he doing though? Is he covering sports or?
No, he's working in communications. Has a big comms job. would love to see him back in our business because he's really good at it. But I don't know that he pays attention. Like, I'd love to have him on the pod. He'd be good. I would have to see if he pays attention enough to things to do it, because he doesn't, get wrapped up in stuff the way he used to, the same way. But he still watches, he still follows. So we could at some point. He seems like a good July guest at this point. That's not a put down. Does it sound like a put down?
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean that.
Because we talk about July and how terrible of a month it is for the podcast.
It often winds up being. I enjoy July because the creativity of the questions and the different topics, and Matt is one of my favorite people in the freaking world. So there's nobody I miss more dearly on the beat than Matt Charbonneau. And that includes. I loved hanging out with Rex Road like that those early years with Matt and Joe, but Matt was around for almost a decade after Joe. Like, he was on the road, just really created the personality of our trips. And
good Lord,
I missed the guys. Is that 69 session now for you?
All over.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
suction cup dildos on your forehead. It's just gross. The prop Joe of Southern Maine next. Is Rutgers coach Steve Peichel a douche?
Never met him other than like a media day type.
He's got a stupid looking face.
Whoa, Graham. That's not nice.
Would not say that. I don't know. He's never looked through me, so I don't have a personal issue with it.
Steve Beckman, should MSU fans be more excited about this MSU hockey three-peat than they were about the repeat?
Well, it's every time it happens, it's more impressive. I think the three-peat sort of validated this was going to stay and this was really moving somewhere.
I feel like you should celebrate any time something like that happens, no matter if it's 19 in a row.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
I mean, the University of Michigan's hockey program, which is right there with Michigan State right now this year, has never won a Big Ten championship. Michigan State's won 3 straight, and so that's a really it's a hard thing to do. In the grind of the regular, I know hockey has a postseason tournament. There's more history in that, going back to the CCHA. So it's a little different in how they see different championships and stuff, and than in basketball. But like to win the grind of a full winter. I mean, remember, hockey started their season last June, right? That's usually the way it starts. And the Frozen Four is next September. So it's a long grind. Yeah.
Steve Beckman, how many times will Izzo talk about being unable to sub off his seniors during the final minutes and seconds of that Rutgers game before he retires? Over under 50.5.
Over 50.5. No, it depends on what that game will be.
Don't coach my team.
That game will be just something that gets brought up occasionally on senior day type things. Because so much, there's just so much more to this season. But he'll bring it up again. I would say it's if he coaches 5 more years, he would bring it up over 4.5 more times.
Wow. Spartan degenerate. Are you going to Vegas on the LSJ's dime for the Frozen Four? If not, are you still obligated to cover MSU if they make it that far in the tourney?
Yes, we will be in Las Vegas if both myself and I think Nate Bott, if they make the Frozen Four. We've already booked it in case. But yeah, no, the LSJ.
Staying on Fremont?
No, there's a place right near the arena. It's maybe MGM, the Luxor, or whatever. I have to double check. It's Excalibur, maybe. There's Marriott properties right near the arena. But the I work for the LSJ. I'm not covering it for my health. I would not be obligated to cover MSU if they weren't paying the freight. It's not like I know there are some people who I'll see them on the road trips. They work for fan sites and they go and they.
What
pay
about
their
your
own
Substack?
way.
Well, you can cover it for your Substack.
Well, if I had a Substack and I wasn't working for the LSJ, I would have to factor that into the budget. But I don't have to factor into the budget.
Are you annoyed by Substack? The people at Substack?
No, why would I be?
Oh, I don't know.
No, I think it's lots of people who, if you have a brand or you offer something valuable that people want to subscribe to, especially if the organization you used to work for didn't value or let you go, especially, it makes tons of sense. I get that.
All right. Richard Kane, it was a bummer to see the MSU women take a dump in their pants at 3-6. At 3-6 since February 1st, what are their prospects for the tournament?
Well, there's still a chance they're a 4 seed. That win over Minnesota on the road is big because Minnesota is going to be a 4 seed. And the key in the women's tournament, keep in mind, is a 4 seed allows you to be a host the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. I've seen some projections now that really see them, a couple different projections have them now as a 5 seed, and I think that's probably more likely after the loss to Illinois. Now, Illinois is number 32. It's not like it's a bad loss. It's a quad 1 loss, 32 on neutral court. A team they beat once this year. But if they're a 5 seed, maybe they're at Kentucky or North Carolina to open. It's not great. That was a bad loss and one they needed to get, and they didn't get it. And and then it's a hard road because you're on the road. So their odds of getting to the Sweet 16 just decreased greatly. But I also think they're a better team than they've been, in the sense that they're probably, they have a chance to win on the road somewhere. It's just harder to do. And they'll be, as a 5 seed playing a 4, they'll be playing a more comparable team. And in women's basketball, that really mattered. Like, you're not playing, like last year, they were 7, so they were playing a 2 is what it was. I can't remember exactly what it was. But and it was like a 9 and a 1 the year before that. Or no, they lost in the first round the year before that. But whatever it is, like, you don't want to be playing one of the elite teams on their court. And so they won't have to do that. But I don't think it'll be on their home court. But still, there are enough things could happen around them. We'll see. They were just barely a 4 seed last Sunday in the reveal. So they were there. And the only new data point is a loss to Illinois, which is like the 32nd best team, which isn't great.
Richard Kane next. How many senior night ceremonies has Trey Ford experienced?
Well, they didn't have him at community college, the 2 years at, because, right, it's only a 2-year school. But, how many parts has he been part of? Probably Samford was the only one, although I think he's got a degree from Mississippi State. But I don't know if that's a good question.
So 3?
Maybe, but I don't know. I didn't know he was leaving. He certainly wasn't out of eligibility-wise, so I don't know if he took part in the senior ceremony. Yeah.
Richard, how do we feel about the Cleveland Plain Dealers' liberal use of AI?
Not great. Not a huge fan of what's going on.
What does it mean by liberal use? Are they just doing it for certain stories?
No, there's basically this idea that reporters can report and then AI will write it for you. Like, that's not great. That's not. Now, I know there are some bad reporters who are not great writers out there, and so it can be a heavy lift.
Names.
Heavy lift. I'm not going to give names, but man. I know what it's like is to edit stories and be like, my God, this is going to take me half an hour, and it's not fun. And there are times in my life I thought AI could do this better, but I don't love it. I don't love that move towards AI. There are a lot of things I don't love about AI. I think it can be a helpful tool, but if I were the president, or the czar of something. What AI has ruined on social media with the lack of ability to trust what used to be a funny video, and now it's just AI or a gruesome. Like, it used to be, wow, that's interesting because it's real, or that's funny because it's real. And now half of them are AI. The baby videos, the cat videos, the nature videos.
Tell.
Not all the time,
really.
But even though they suck, to me, I would say, period. There is no social media until we get rid of AI on social media. Now, we love it with Matt Drolette and what we're doing, but I'm talking about videos. Faking videos cannot be a thing. Faking people's likeness cannot be a thing. There's certain rules. And if we can't get it right, we can't have social media at all. And I think that would take care of it because people would just police it. And I'm sorry, we'll fix
Graham
that.
Couch, AI czar.
I don't know. Yeah.
Couch on fire. Doesn't it amaze you when these teams just start throwing 3-pointers in from the ocean in the last 2 minutes of a blowout loss? It's amazing. I stopped texting during games now.
Yeah, I've seen it happen a lot, and so it doesn't surprise me. And it's the pressure's off. You got to shoot. It's sometimes when in the course of a game you're thinking time and place. Do I shoot now? Is this a good shot? There's pressure because the game is close. There's very little pressure. You have to shoot, and that sometimes just let you get in a rhythm.
Couch on fire. Doesn't Kennedy Blair have to take that shot at the end of the MSU women's game?
It wasn't great. Yeah, she had a really good game otherwise, but she dished it out and was turned over. She got kind of stuck there. That final play just didn't seem to work. Wasn't great, and I'm sure she wishes she had it over.
Keith Stuparud next. I blame the collapse on Izzo. Don't know why he went with all 3 guys when Rutgers was pressing, and can we go from Haynes, Timebach in the portal? Can we go after Haynes, Timebach in the portal? Kid is a beast on the boards.
I misedited this. It's Steinbach. I apologize. But, he's the Washington player, and, he's got to enter the portal unless, you want to truly tamper with him, which I don't think Izzo's going to do. But that's the sort of player that Michigan State could really use next year, 100%.
Frank Vajner next. Last night's MSU game gives me the feeling of a first-round exit is looming in the tournament. The last 4 first-round exits have happened in years that end in 1 or a 6.
See, if this is where your mind is, you need Groovy Donuts this weekend. It'll get your mind on other things. Go to groovydonuts.com. Today. Now, I would say, there's some vulnerabilities with this team, but I also, Joe talked about it the other day. I also think this team has a relatively high floor. But
you're supposed to say that, so we read your stuff, right?
No, I do. I've sometimes questioned this team's repeatability of its ceiling. Like, I think it has a decent high ceiling too, but I don't know if it can be something that it does game in and game out. But they're gonna, if they're a 2 or 3, they're 15, 14 seed. They should be noticeably better than those teams. And we saw it a year ago. I don't think a first round exit's coming, because if you look at the first round exits in some of the most famous years, now other than the 2016 team 10 years ago, which was obviously a nightmare, but if you look at like 2006 George Mason or 2004 Nevada, and you look at the Ken Palm numbers of those two teams are awful. I mean, hold on, give me some Hoff real quick. I want to help people feel better about this.
I look through my window so bright. I see the stars out tonight.
Michigan State's defensive rating in 2006 when they lost to George Mason, 119. Like, that's so un-Izzo-like. In 2004, 129. Nothing around it is anywhere. I mean, they haven't had other years like they were just not good defense. And so Michigan State this year, I remind you, is number 8 in the country defensively. So those years outside of 2016, which and they're better defensively than they were that year. Trying to think of another first round. 2011 was a complete nightmare. They were number 73 in offense. That was the year that team kind of fell apart. But if you look at the years, it's really happened. There were deeper things than just the luck of the draw and the digit of the year.
Frank, Steve Yzerman needs to do more than trading for an injured David Perrin before 3 p.m. today.
Well, it's 2:58, as we said. So we have any Red Wings news? Let's see here.
Buenos tardes. It is time for the Detroit Red Wings Gambling Update with Gramanito Couch and Yaxel Lendeborg.
It does not look like they've done much here. So people are not happy. Here are the top few tweets. Shout out to the Red Wings for doing absolutely nothing at the trade deadline. And no, getting David Perrin does not move me. And then there's Red Wings ain't do shit per usual. Yeah. And then the Red Wings and Tigers massively overvalue their prospects. Give me a Dombrowski. He wins and knows how to turn prospects into players.
It's true.
Yeah.
I agree with Faucet Liquor.
If the Red Wings don't make another moves, I'm done for the year. Yeah. So the mood is not light. And again, Groovy Donuts, for any Red Wings fan out there, is the way to brighten your day. GroovyDonuts.com. They will do a Red Wings donut. You can send them to Stevie Y and say, why? That could be, just a little why to Stevie Y. Groovy Donuts, they will do those personalized donuts for you.
Couch off script. Mr. Benjen, how many other teams facing what MSU did last night late in the game would have had the testicular fortitude to stop the spiral and pull out the win?
Well, there's a spin if I've ever seen it. That's better than any spin zone. That's amazing.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I think a lot of teams would not have completely lost it. Now, it did help that, Fears hitting those free throws, the way they were hitting shots, if there were 3.3 seconds to go and Michigan State was up just 2, I don't know what would have happened. But because they were, but Fears with in the complete silence of Breslin Center, other than Will Tiemann talking in the background, hit 2 huge free throws. And I think that's really important. Like, Fears is so much for MSU's team. And we're talking about whether he's a player, the player of the year or whatnot. But when you have a point guard who you can count on in really, really difficult moments to hit free throws down the stretch in the postseason, that's important.
Mr. Benjen, MSU women have only had 6 coaches since 1972. What's in the water at Jennison and the Brez? Who is your favorite and why?
I didn't know most.
Susie Merchant.
Susie Merchant and Robin Freilich are the 2 I've known. I didn't know Karen Langland personally, but
the end wasn't great, but had some good times.
Yeah, I like Susie a lot. Even when she looked after I gained all that weight and she gave that look to me like, oof, what the hell happened to you? Even that moment, I like Susie Merchant. We had a lot of great conversations. I like Robin Freilich. I've known Robin Freilich since we were both children growing up at St. Paul's Episcopal Church in downtown Lansing. So
really?
Yeah.
You've never said that.
I've said that before, right?
No.
Yeah. I've known her since like family night
at
St.
Croc.
Paul's.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Somebody tell me.
She was like 11 and even younger
really?
than that. Yeah.
I don't remember you saying that on the show.
Yeah, I've known her. I've known her brother. I've known her family. My it's not like we kept in touch all the way.
So that's why you don't write anything negative.
That's it.
I get it.
It's a
Makes
rule
sense
at
now.
St. Paul's. You're not allowed to do it. Yeah, it's a very unchristian thing to do. So we don't do that.
Let's go green. Go God.
Andrew Gauthier next. How much of the final minutes versus Rutgers was due to we have it in the bag versus how much of it is a legitimate concern?
I think if they had not made the substitutions and those guys, and if Nick Sanders wasn't on the floor, no offense to Barry's kid, and Nick's, and I don't think Nick was really the problem there. Right? But if they'd had the regular guys in and it hadn't,
Wojcik fouling on 3.
Yeah, right. It's just if they'd had the regular guys in and it happened, it's a concern, right? And it's a lot of it has to do with.
But that lineup will not be in for any of the future games.
They're not trying to kiss the court and do the proper send off, right?
Andrew, does the David Montgomery deal open up the floodgates for Holmes, or is this a see I made a trade kind of move and will stand pat going forward? Lions need to get off the high horse and make some moves. Yeah, I'm not holding my breath, Andrew, about Brad making moves. But you might need to now that the whole Decker thing that we talked about to start the show.
Crazy. Yeah.
I just don't get it. Like, I'm not bummed that he, wants a release or whatever, but it just seems like with all of the moves the Lions make, there's always some weird shit. And it goes back with Ragnow. It's just that was wild and weird, and I still don't understand that or why we can't talk about Frank Ragnow anymore. It just seems like, yeah. But anyway, Jonathan Smith's burner, did Rutgers forget their role? When we put the sentimental lineup in with 5 to go, that means stop trying and let our seniors have their moment. Steve Peichel is a penis.
Now, you got to have a bigger lead than that. And frankly, if they don't get the bucket and the foul, I don't think it continues. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, you're like, all right, well, you got to press. You got to keep playing the game. This is how you do it. What Michigan did last year, where you stand at center court and you impede the celebration, that's not really how you do it. But this is how you do it. You just make it so it's impossible. Nobody shit on Ohio State for beating Draymond Green with a game-winning shot in 2012 to ruin that senior day. Like, this is if you want it, you have to earn it. If you're MSU, you have to earn the lead has to be big enough to cycle guys out, and they each get to do the. It was gonna be hard at a certain point once it was like 12 or so to really use the timeouts and bring guys in and out during that scenario. Anyway, they didn't have a big enough lead.
Jonathan Smith's burner. Where does Trey Augustine rank among all-time Spartan hockey greats? Got to be top 10, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've had a lot of tremendous, but Augustine, not just, like, if you talk about program impact, like, he was the guy who committed to Adam Nightingale right away and was the first, one of the first big guys to really come in, and people came with him, and his program impact is immense. It's up there, and there are some other guys throughout a really storied history of Michigan State hockey. So it'd be a great ranking to do actually over the summer that would take working with people who know, Neil Koepke and a lot of other people who know the program better than I do. But yes, I would think top 10 would be safe at this point.
Matt next. Is Rutgers underrated? We sure made them look good at times last night. How does Tom get them to play consistent defense for 40 minutes, multiple games in a row?
I think it's a matchup deal. They felt confident. I think there's some talent. Those guards are quick, and there is some ability there, and they're young. Like, we'll see if that group can stick together at all. Peichel just got a 1 year reprieve. He's going to come back for next year, but it's got to be better. Like, can he convince guys to come back and recruit a roster that allows them to be competitive and he had it going for a little bit there. And then he went, they spent all their money on 2 lottery picks, but they didn't have the roster around him. And they've had to really kind of start over. So I don't know. I think consistent defense, they've been close to that in certain games. And it's hard to do, right? Other teams are good. And I think, I don't think it'll be for lack of effort in the postseason, certainly. And when I mean the postseason, I mean the NCAA tournament. Let's take a really quick break. We come back, some good Groovy Donut Twitter questions still to come. Our Friday show presented by our friends at Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app.
Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen, Bar, or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American-Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch and the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at gomuskox.com, where Couch and the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. If you're looking for a relaxed vibe, great food, and an outstanding beer selection, Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing is your place. Enjoy their famed chicken and waffle fries, fish and chips, or any of their delicious burgers or salads. Midtown Brewing Company also offers 40-plus beers on tap, including ciders and seasonal offerings and daily happy hour specials. The spacious and cozy vibe makes Midtown Brewing Company a perfect place for a beer with a friend, a work lunch, or to watch the games on its big screen TVs. If you'd rather eat at home, Midtown Brewing Company offers a terrific carryout menu and free delivery on orders of $20 or more. Visit MidtownBrewingCompany.net or stop by 402 South Washington in downtown Lansing for the Midtown Brewing Company experience.
Please like and subscribe to the Couch and the Rube YouTube channel. Also download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
Couch in the Rube, our Friday show, presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Download the app today. Bet the games we're betting, or bet your own games. Be wary of the conference tournaments, I always say. But download the app before March Madness and enjoy the games. And it's if you ever want the in-house Vegas Sportsbook experience, highly recommend Dacey's Taproom and Sportsbook and the experience there. They do it well. Great meals, TVs everywhere. You got the whole Firekeepers casino experience right at your fingertips there as well.
Some dude next. I know that Couch or Izzo or Jason Benetti can't wish ill will on anyone or cheer for an injury, but what if that dude is a bona fide a-hole? Like he stands on your logo during your well-known senior celebration, and you're just some dude that hates them. Is that okay?
I mean, ill will. What degree of ill will? You can. I'm not going to tell you how to feel. Yeah, see, that's the problem. That's probably
you wish
too far.
death on them.
That's too far.
Okay.
Too far. Yeah.
What if you wish that they snap their leg?
Probably too far.
Yeah, that's a little far.
I mean, you could wish they get what's coming to them
shingles.
The other way.
What if they you wish shingles upon them?
Physical illness is probably not great. What about just something going wrong in their lives?
Diarrhea?
There you go. No. Diarrhea. You can wish diarrhea on anybody. Diarrhea in a public setting.
Some dude, Couch, who votes for Big Ten Player of the Year, all media. How much will politics play into this? Who's more dirty, Fears or the tampering scumbags?
So I have a vote. Not all media has it. There's a certain amount of, I do have a vote now. I've not always had a vote. It's gone, it's gone around or whatnot. So yeah, it's not a certain amount of people per state or per beat. I can't remember exactly how it's I think it's per beat. It depends. You do get some biases, I'm sure. But that's part of the idea of, not everybody vote. Like, you don't get a vote if you work for SpartansRS.com or MGO Blowjob or, anything that is built around the name of the, that you don't get a vote, right? And that's part of it. So I'm not saying there aren't inherent biases built in the certain reporters. And, I think you should try and take this stuff really seriously.
Some dude, did you ever hear more details on the Nightingale hockey ref thing? I was there really close to the OSU bench that night, and I swear I saw that ref talking to the Ohio State bench more than normal. It was noteworthy. Then Nightingale went after him post-game, which was sweet.
Yeah, I mean, his explanation was just that he didn't want the ref talking to his players the way he was, and that, his job was to talk to Nightingale. And I've not heard anything beyond that.
All right. Chris, when Nightingale was hired, MSU hadn't won any NCAA tournament game in 14 seasons. Only made the tourney once and were 3-24 in conference tourney games over that span. Now they're back-to-back-to-back champs. If I told you during his introductory presser he'd win 3 titles, period, would you have believed me?
No, but 2 years ago I wouldn't believe that Indiana was the national championship in football either, right? I think that dwarfs
Still
everything.
Don't believe it.
Yeah, everything's possible after that. I mean, what Nightingale's done is incredible, but it was interesting. I was talking to a group of Indiana alums at this alumni function right outside or at the building next to Assembly Hall on last Sunday, and they are just over the moon. They don't give a rat's ass what happens with basketball right now because it's like they're the football national champions in Indiana. Like, how the hell did this happen? They don't believe it. They couldn't believe it. And so they were asking me, like, is there any comparison? Can you think of anything anywhere in sports in terms of that sort of, you're talking about the losingest football program in the history of college football that was getting no better, all of a sudden becoming this overwhelming national champs 2 years later and having a playoff here in year one. And so I started, trying to think, and I brought up the Michigan State hockey comparison, and they had been down for a decade, but still the first year was not quite an NCAA tournament year, and they had been a proud program once, and they were able to lean on a great alum and Nightingale for that. Not that he was a great player at MSU, but you get that. He was an alum, and with is a little different deal. And what he's done has been incredible. It's been absolutely incredible. But what Indiana football did just makes everything else seem pretty damn possible. I mean, I believe I can lose 50 pounds now because of Indiana football. And, that's...
Actually, it's muskox.
And
Indiana has nothing to do with it.
It's the muskox.
Yeah. Gives you hope.
I do. I'm telling you right now, you catch yourself like a side look in the mirror with a muskox versus not. It's a very different look. Very different look.
Just try to avoid that angle at all costs. Yeah. Chris, MSU seems primed for a 2 seed, and the committee is likely chomping at the bit to put them in Duke's bracket. Bet you a Rocket Bar popcorn basket that I'll be seeing you in D.C. later this month.
Make it a groovy donut, and we've got a deal. I don't, talking to Joe and where they could wind up and talking to people, I don't think Chicago's most likely with Michigan there. It doesn't mean it can't happen, but it doesn't sound. But it sounds like the other 3 regionals are all in play. So it would be. I'll be curious to see where that goes. But yeah, certainly, Joe thought that was a possibility, and I could see like 2 of the 4 1 seeds are going to be Michigan and Duke. So you got like a 50-50 chance, right? If you got to play somebody who's really, really good. I don't know that I sometimes think the committee cares about matchups. They claim they don't, but I have my doubts.
Matty B, you said next year could be one. MSU could be one Carson Cooper away from being complete. I agree with Jason. There is an easy solution. Go effing get it. And if he doesn't, I don't want to hear woe is me from Tom. Is that fair? You have cachet. Use it.
No, I think it's 100% fair. I think, there is, when you look at next year's roster, now something can go wrong, right? You can have a player leave that you don't expect, an injury you don't expect, and that can change the dynamic of things, and that can be more excusable or change what you think is a priority. But if everybody comes back, they think can come back with who's coming in, like that has to be the priority, and there's really not an excuse to not get it done to some degree. Now, who's available on the market, will depend on what is out there, but they're going to need to add somebody there. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Matty B, you said MSU is an NIT team without fears. Is that an acceptable level of depth at a school of this success level? Obviously, I wouldn't expect a Final Four without fears, but NIT seems like this program should be able to stock up enough depth to not miss the tourney.
Well, yeah, what I mean by that is, like the Denzel Valentine team 10 years ago, now granted they lost at the beginning of the NCAA tournament, but that team without Denzel Valentine was not good at all, was not good enough to go anywhere and do anything, probably an NIT team, right? And so when you have a great player, that happens. I mean, the 2019 team without Cassius Winston, not very good, right? And so, like, when you have a great point guard, too, and a great lead guard, that's going to be – Michigan is built with great depth and, and that it's a little different deal. And Michigan State a year ago was, probably could have lost a lot of different guys and still made the tournament. But this is much more regular. I don't think there's any problem. You should have to – and the other thing, and I say that partly if Divine Ugochukwu doesn't get hurt and he had to be your starting point guard and you had to run with him, I think that group could get to the tournament. But it would be a bubble team, no question.
Matty B, can Dusty May act normal about anything? This dude just acts unaware or tells small lies about everything. This smug, inauthentic prick bothers me more than Harbaugh. It's pretty impressive. More than Harbaugh?
Yeah. I mean, Harbaugh, Dusty May
a stupid-looking face.
Dusty May does not bug me like Harbaugh did. Harbaugh, to this day, he looks through people. I can't do it. I can't do it with Harbaugh. I'm just grateful that I wasn't like covering Harbaugh daily because I would puke all over my shoes all the time. It would have been,
John Kalmar next. Graham, forget the quick takes. We need a full Sunday edition feature on Jackson's great-grandfather, Earl Chuck Kohler, the Pearl Harbor survivor and World War II vet. Why don't you write something?
Well, a lot of people wrote something, and that's partly
Why don't you write something, huh? Why don't you write something?
That's partly why I didn't. But it was because there are quite a few articles today out there. Solari wrote one. Connor Eargood wrote one. So we have one in the LSJ. But it is good. And there are sometimes those pieces where, we found out that was happening just before the game. If you knew
if he was like 105, would you write something? I mean, gee, good Lord. I mean, come on, respect your veterans here.
No, if Solari wasn't writing something, I would have. But we were not going to run two stories in the LSJ, and so
I know because you turn 102 all the time.
Maybe I should have.
As one of 12 Pearl Harbor survivors.
Speaking of Solari's calling right now.
Graham.
Hello.
What's going on, Chris?
Graham.
I can't find my fucking pen. Travis Maynard, if you could pick just one of them back next year, who are you taking, Cooper or Kohler? Oof.
Well, for what Michigan State needs, it would be Cooper. Because you have Cam Ward, so you have the rebounding, you have a four-man. If you were just starting a roster from scratch, it's a different question, right? Kohler does some things and he's a rebounder, can stretch a floor. Like you can make the argument if it's completely different. But for what they have on next year's roster versus what they need on next year's roster, a veteran five-man is it, right? And so Cooper's the answer.
Rug and Tub next. Going through the rosters of Michigan, Purdue, and Illinois, they're losing a lot of seniors and NBA talent. With who's coming back for us in our freshman and portal editions, MSU is winning the Big Ten next year.
Well, I mean, you look at some of these. I mean, Michigan has done this and Illinois has done this where they pretty much redo their roster, a good portion of it, year over year. So you don't know what – I mean, yes, they're losing a lot, but they're kind of equipped for this and planning on this and planning – now – It's a hard thing to do and to get it right, but Illinois with a new roster this year and Michigan with a pretty new roster this year, look what they are. So I wouldn't say that. Purdue is the one that I think will likely take a little bit of a step back. And if Michigan if Michigan State gets everybody back who can be back, and the freshmen are what they can be, and they bring in a five-man, I mean the table is set there for them to be really, really good.
Rug and Tub, what's up with the cool camel selfie, and where was that? Got a cool story to share?
Sometimes forget how long I've been around and that people join at different stages. So what he's talking about is on the Twitter avatar, there's me like petting a camel or talking in front of a camel. Mm-hmm. That story is part of how I met my wife, and I'll tweet out that video. So this is at the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl at the end of 2012. I'd just been at the LSJ a few months, back when I had one chin. And anyway... We're staying at the Camelback Resort in outside of Phoenix, and there was this camel there through the Shriners organization or whatnot, and I was doing these Talking Spartan videos. Back then I was just doing them on my own. We started doing them with Joe, and then now I do them with Chris, but I was doing them on my own, and so I had to send a video back to the LSJ. I was like, you know what, I'm going to interview the camel about the Rose Bowl. And it was great because the camel like leaned in every time. The camel played along better than I ever could have imagined. Like I'd ask the camel a question, and it would dip its head toward me. It was just incredible. And my wife was working at the LSJ. She was back on the desk, and to this day that she thought that was a pretty cool video. One of the reasons she fell in love with me was that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she didn't know I was going to, turn into the person I've become. But back then it seemed promising. So
shout out to that camel.
Yeah, shout out to the camel. I'll retweet that video at some point.
Kurt Wisniewski, Elite Donut, cake or yeast?
Like your two children. Groovy Donuts has both. I like a good cake-based donut. I'm not going to choose. I wouldn't do that to my kids. But you can have both at groovydonuts.com, and you can have an assortment. You can go there. One of my favorite things to do is get like 6 donuts, get a half dozen donuts, come home, share them with my wife. We cut them each up. We enjoy a bunch of different ones.
And reminisce about that camel.
Yeah, go to groovydonuts.com.
You guys ever gone on a camel ride then?
I have not. Have you?
Oh, I wish.
No.
Otter Park Zoo.
They had them there?
I remember back in the day, this was a long time ago, that I took my sisters there.
Okay.
And they got on camels, but I never did.
Why did you not?
I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I should have, I think. Kurt Wisniewski, will Yzerman disappoint at the trade deadline? Is he simply trying to pacify the fan base with a trade for a 37-year-old that cannot play?
He seems to be disappointing. And I do wonder, like, Yzerman and Dumars, like, is it worth coming back to be the GM of your team where you were a
Joe
legend?
D won a championship.
He did. But now he's kind of mocked around the basketball circles a little bit, and it didn't end well. Yeah, that's true. If he won a championship with the
ring,
Rings,
though.
Yeah, that's true.
I can respect that.
That's fair. Good point.
Spartan 231 next. Do you know who the MSU assistant coach is? Like Borovich talk with the headset at the scorer's table during halftime.
It's the radio crew. So the radio crew is up next to us. Will Tiemann and Matt Steginga. Yep, they're up there, and so it's the radio crew is who they're talking with.
Jason asked for my favorite college basketball play-by-play guys, so here they are. Number 1, Dan Schulman. 2, Ian Eagle. And 3, Andrew Catalan. And 4, Dave Pash. Question: do you think the Las Vegas end-of-the-year tourney could replace the NCAA tournament since players get paid to play in it?
No, because half the players haven't got paid yet, which is part of the issue. And I don't know how much that's on the tourney and how much it is through the clearinghouse, but there's some issues there, like not surprisingly. No, the NCAA tournament, if you're college basketball, you got one thing going for you, one real thing, and it's the NCAA tournament. It's what makes you a major sport. And you don't bring in enough revenue to otherwise be a major sport. You don't have enough interest, in the games in December and January and early February. What makes you a major sport is the NCAA tournament. The same thing that these pickle fucks want to fuck with. Don't let them expand it. Like, I don't even
pickle fucks.
I don't even know what that is. I just get so angry when I think about people wanting to expand it. And
sounds offensive.
Like, it's not your job to ruin life just because you're in management with the NCAA, or you're an athletic director, or you're a administrator at the top level, or whatever at TV. It's not your job to ruin life. Like, unless it really greatly improves your own life, just back the hell off, okay?
Well, hold on a second.
Are you raising your voice at me?
Raising your voice at me, bro?
A little bit.
John Naughty. Jordan shot down Iranian missiles. Did LeBron ever do that? Anyway, original Darkman Antonio, if MSU won the title this year, would that be the longest span between 2 championships ever for any coach in any sport?
It's a good question. I don't know. I mean, without another one, so it'd be 2000 to 2020, 26 years. That seems like it's got to be. Yeah, I'm sure there's a story out there of somebody in some sport somewhere, but it's. I can't think of one offhand, and yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Original Darkman Antonio, does Spiro dig as deep into MSU stuff as he does Michigan to get a story?
Well, I think he does. He does have an axe to grind with Michigan a little bit, but also I think he thinks he's filling a gap. And you'd have to ask him on this stuff, but I think he thinks he's filling a void where the investigations aren't, that often are, into MSU, if that makes sense. So his argument would be, this is because the blue wall exists, this is necessary from him.
Ryan speaks. How would you react if MGO Blow or similar came out with a story about something illegal happening in the MSU football program that you didn't know about?
Well, I'd be surprised, but I would take it seriously, and I would look at it, and I'd credit them, I would. I would be surprised.
But you would wonder why that person knew and you didn't.
Yeah, but people have
some of that.
Yeah, but people have all sorts of connections,
right.
And so you don't wonder about that entirely, and so I would.
Yeah, I'd want to know who that person knew. I understand people know more people.
Sure, you have to sort of verify.
If someone ended up scooping me on something, I think I would be like, how did they get to that?
So, well, yeah, and you'd have to verify it a little bit yourself. But yeah, I mean, it's people shouldn't be dismissed just because, they have a slant on something. Now, it does mean, but everybody should be verified on this stuff before you just throw it out and report it.
Ryan speaks next. Do you think MSU basketball happened to play Nebraska when Nebraska was at their peak for the season? Seems like MSU would win in a rematch with how Nebraska has been playing.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a horrible matchup for MSU. They didn't play that well that day. Nebraska didn't either. Michigan State did not play. Nebraska had some peaks later than that. But certainly Nebraska was playing well at the time. They didn't play great that night, though. I mean, they did not. And Michigan State obviously did not. And I think, but I would pick MSU, I think, in a rematch.
Scotty Green's El Camino. Okay, Jason, you have to spend a whole day with Couch. Which one are you doing? A, luring gay guys to staircases. B, stealing cats. C, hitting on underage baristas. And D, watching all the foreign students invade East Lansing. Or E, Hallmark movie marathon. Damn. I think it would be D, just to watch your glee, watching all the foreign students invade East Lansing. Because I'm like Couch. I like Asians. Asian people. I really enjoy Asian people. One of my best friends in high school was Asian.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's hilarious. Made me laugh all the time. I respect Asians. So it would be fun to watch you, and then I would enjoy it as well. But the glee on Graham's face.
It doesn't happen quite as pronounced as it used to, but like 10 years ago, you could really sit out. Like what I'm talking about is the week before all the students arrived at East Lansing, the international students would arrive, and it was like straight out of Hong Kong. And you go to you'd sit out there like the Peanut Barrel, or you'd sit out at Sushi there on Grand River.
Have you been to Hong Kong?
I have not,
okay.
But I'm just saying, like you felt like you were in a different country, and I very much enjoyed it. So that's all.
That's what I mean. That's why I picked it. Yeah. Dominic's X. Got a sneak preview of your final regular season matchup analysis and a prediction?
I have filed it because our print deadlines are wickedly early, which is part of what people always say. Your prediction's always about where the Vegas spread is. I do look at Ken Palm and all those sort of things, but Vegas spread is never out when I have to file these for our ridiculous
deadlines. But you say
deadlines.
Don't look at Vegas spreads, look at Ken Palm.
Correct, right.
Vegas uses Ken Palm.
They do use Ken Palm. And so, yeah, I have Michigan State losing 80-73, something around there. But I have it as a competitive game. And it's not a game I don't think Michigan State can win. It's just, I think Michigan's best is better than Michigan State's best, and I think we all know that. And so, predicting Michigan not to be at their best is I don't know why I would do that.
Dominic's X, what's your favorite way to waste time when you should be working?
What's your favorite way?
Looking up vintage golf clubs on eBay.
Yeah.
I've been crushing a lot of that tape lately. Making a few purchases. I don't know. It's kind of my thing at the moment, or looking at golf scores or how bad my golf bets are at the time. So
to me, it's soccer or tennis on a treadmill. Just sort of like.
So you're on a treadmill when you should be working.
Well, that's I guess even that, it's just like soccer, tennis in the background, or streaming some obscure tennis match, and it's calming, especially in the winter. I'm going to tell you right now, when there's if you get sick, like we all need sunlight. It helps to like get away in the window of the winter.
Yeah.
And when you can't do it, sometimes watching like a tennis match, and this probably works with golf too, where it just looks nice. It looks like, oh my gosh, these guys are outdoors. That looks like summer. It is like soothing to have on in the background. And a lot of these streams don't have announcers either, so you just hear the ball going.
It can be more depressing, though, if you do think about it. If you look at the nice weather.
Yeah.
Munfield Keg next. What do you think it is like to have a friend like Tom Izzo? You go through a scandal where you verbally abuse players and then get to come back to MSU in a recruiting position and then get to be a coach with job security. Then your son gets to transfer in and play for you, all while making bank.
Well, I don't know how much that NIL money that Denham Wojcik is making, and he was not brought in to be. He's not wasn't going to take a scholarship spot if they had other guys. It wasn't like some guy they really heavily recruited. He was available, and they thought he would be a good insurance policy. And you know what? It paid off in this sense. He's been okay. Now he's not been to the level that you probably want at that position, but he's been okay. And because Divine Ugochukwu got hurt. He's been absolutely necessary in a lot of ways. So, but your point on Doug Wojcik,
Clint One Ball Bainey, I'm hearing from insiders that Izzo is close to signing Kurtang's brother named Poon. Can you confirm that rumor?
I cannot. I'm sorry, Clint. It would be amazing if it was happening.
Poontang. Clint Bainey, is Michigan's recent rash of thuggery that is rampant throughout the previous coaching staffs a byproduct of Harbaugh, more, or just the cost of doing business? It's deplorable in any regard.
I don't think Harbaugh paid attention very much. I don't think Harbaugh is a very good football coach. He is not, to me, a great runner of an organization, administrator of an organization. I don't think he paid close enough attention to some of the stuff that was happening. I don't think that's his strength, and I don't think this is something that Harbaugh wanted or promoted. But I think he wants to win, and he doesn't pay a lot of attention. That's my read on it, to some things going around. Enough attention to somebody who needs to in that position.
Clint Bainey, how the fuck does Ward Manuel have a job? He must have some great pictures as blackmail. Leaders and best. And from Josh Inwood. Hey, fellas, been in the field doing research and haven't written in a while. WTF is up with Michigan athletics, and how does Ward Manuel still have a job? First, Connor Stallions, the Sharon Moore, now LaTroy Lewis. Even the Blue Wall can't cover up this level of scandal.
Well, I think, let me see what the Michigan, hold on one second.
This is what I see. Everybody stops and
So
staring
on
at
July
me.
1st, Michigan's new president takes hold. I would be a little surprised if Ward Manuel's the long-term guy beyond that. You want the president to hire the new AD, and so you're all sort of in alignment there. I think he'll be a fall guy at some point. Maybe it's not even firing. Maybe he retires, or they just say, they part ways, or whatever it might be. But I would be a little surprised if he's the long-term answer. But in some ways, it's helpful to have a guy. Like, it would have been, even if Mark Hollis didn't survive all the stuff that was coming out against Michigan State in 2018, right, with the ESPN stories, it would have been really helpful if he'd stuck around for a while, to be a spokesman, to be somebody who took some of the heat off everything that was going on, or at least was somebody who could take the darts and answer the questions. Now, you don't see Ward Manuel out front very much, but that's the only solution. Otherwise, I have no freaking idea.
Kerr Putang next. Why do we go from my grandmother's funeral piano music straight into Slit My Wrist headbanging guitars for the open of the show? Also, can we shorten that by, 2 minutes? My finger hurts from having to fast forward every show. Appreciate you guys.
We do the show live, so that's why it's not like traditional podcast, right? We don't just we go live, and so
there's a live element. Yeah,
there's a live
even
element.
before we did that, it was still like live to tape. We didn't really,
right. So yeah, that's why.
So it's just kind of a interlude music, but I will take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Yep. Jake Hawkins, the Hawk. What NFL team do you think Kenneth Walker will be playing for next season?
I don't know. Somebody who, I feel like if you're going to sign a running back in their prime and have to pay them probably top running back dollar, which is still lower than everything else, you're probably a team that feels like you're just a running back away. You're not doing that if you got a lot of needs, right? So who is that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It depends on what kind of contract that he wants. I love KW9, but
Yeah, I don't, who feels it? He's a playmaker. There's no doubt about that. So somewhere where they feel like they need another piece, where you don't have it at the running back position, you need a playmaker there. So I'd have to go through it all. It's not as obvious with like Minnesota and quarterback. They need they're gonna, what's his name from Minnesota, from Arizona, just got cut.
Josh McCown.
Okay, man.
Jake Plummer.
Hold on.
Kyler Murray.
Thank you. It's not like Kyler Murray.
Brownie Nagel.
Yeah, where they've given up on our brother in Christ from Michigan there, and the Vikings, and they're gonna
brother in Christ.
So so that seems obvious. I don't know where the obvious solution is for Kenneth Walker.
Next one from the Hawk. How confident are you guys in Brad Holmes to fix the Lions this offseason? Not very confident.
Yeah.
Hawk, the Montgomery trade, all right.
Willing to let him have a go at it, but not overly confident.
If we're going to go into the season, with not many more trades or kind of adding guys. But, Jake, the Bears are the favorites to land Max Crosby in a trade. If that happens, how concerned should Lions fans be? Not very, because, what are you going to have to give up to get Crosby?
And they're offensive
Crosby's
line.
a beast. I mean, he is a beast, but I mean, he can't do it all by himself. What are they going to put around him? I think they're going to have to give up a lot to get him. So I don't know.
And their focus probably needs to be back on the offensive line. If there's young center retired, they lost another guy. I mean, I think it'd be interesting. Yeah.
Jake, how far do you think the Pistons will go in the playoffs, given the last 2 losses and the issues with them, like not good 3-point shooting?
Yeah. Vinny Goodwill was pointing out like that there's been a little bit of decline even in the wins, and so you're not going to play great the whole season. You hope this is a good time to have a slump, get it over with, not be your best. There are some concerns with the Pistons, like they don't have a great secondary creator and option. I mean that is the flaw, and that's a little bit of a concern. They're really good defensively inside. They've got Duran's immense beef stew will mess you up. They got great. They can defend the hell out of you. But they are heavily.
Dennis Jenkins, too, a two-way guy that they signed this year. I mean, that guy's unbelievable, too. But
he has not played as well as late, and I think that's part. But, yeah, no, it's
Spurs. The Spurs have their number, and we talked about the other day, Wednesday, about the Cavs and that Tyson guy. He's got Cade's number, too. So, yeah.
There's a little bit of a concern. But not. And, again, this is a year where they weren't expected to be this great. And if it turns out they get into the playoffs and lose in the second round in a matchup, and we see there's a shortcoming, then you adjust to it. I'm okay with that. They're in a very different place than, say, the Lions right now. They're in a let's discover if there's still a missing part here, and if there is, then you have to address it.
Wait, where do we go? Hans Jurgen, why doesn't Kerr Tang hit 6 threes every night?
It would be helpful. It would be helpful Sunday. It would be helpful in the NCAA tournament. If he can just hit 3 every game from here on out, Michigan State, I think will. I don't know what they'll do. But that would be a big, big help.
Hans, where will MSU play their first-round game? And will Go Blow and MSU play in the same city?
So it would be probably Buffalo if that happened. I mean, you see a lot of the projections are for Buffalo. Michigan came out and said they'd like to be in Philadelphia. I don't know if they'll have that choice. They won't be the number 1 overall seed. And so Buffalo, there's a chance they'll both be in the same city, and that would be in Buffalo.
Hans, Graham, do you wish you had never expressed your opinions on COVID? Should we have a tribunal where everyone's actions during COVID are judged for guilt or innocence?
Ooh. I know. I don't regret it. I mean, I've changed some of my opinions, but they were all out of good intentions, and I don't feel like everybody's were, and that was part of the frustration.
Still like Fauci? You're still a Fauci guy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Fauci guy. I'm sorry. I'm a Fauci guy. I don't have him tattooed on my ass or anything, you know.
Are you raising your voice at me?
I don't think we should have closed schools the way we did. There's some things.
Do you like Fauci? I don't have a tattoo on my ass. I guess that means, okay. Didn't know it was that extreme. And finally, Hans Jurgen. Jason, what would you say at Graham's funeral? I wouldn't say anything because I'm going to be dead before him. There's no way. There's no way.
Maybe you could record a message before you die.
You don't want that.
Oh,
you don't want that, right?
I do kind of want that, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. When do I have to get that done?
Just think about it. We'll get to, a 1990s video camera VHS out there. Plant you in front of it on your deathbed, whenever that happens, or even now. We can just get ahead of the game. We appreciate all of you. Thanks for producing our show, as always. We appreciate Groovy Donuts. GroovyDonuts.com. 2 locations, Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing and also Williamston, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thursday through Sunday. Let Groovy Donuts bring joy and some sunshine into your weekend. We also appreciate our friends at Firekeepers in the Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook app. Download the app. Get your bets in for the weekend if you like our soccer or golf bets. If you want to take your chances on conference tournaments, Godspeed. We will be back Monday, and we'll talk about Sunday's game and everything else. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Rube.